Hi, it's Ray from Honeytop Bees, and today I want to talk to you about this guy. There's two things that I love to do with small hive beetles to keep them under control. And if you can do these two things regularly, you might be able to stay ahead of them. There's several pests that affect our hives in the summer, and this is one of them. This is a 3D model printed of the small hive beetle, but I already broke off one of his antennas, and he's got a loose leg right here. I'm going to try to keep on his body until the end of this video. And so I just want to talk about the small hive beetle a little bit. Maybe in another video I'll go into some details of the life cycle of the small hive beetle, etc. But let's just talk in a general sense about what do we do about this guy that gets inside of our hives. And unlike some of the other pests that are inside of our hives, like the varroa mite or the wax moths, which are the other two pests, the unique thing about the small hive beetle is that it has a hard shell. And so the bees are not able to control by stinging this insect as well as they can maybe take care of the wax moths, for example. So what do we do? Now the bees will control them to an extent. As a matter of fact, your bees will even corral your small hive beetles into a certain corner of your hive, and that's probably why you see them trapped under the top cover. That's where they like to go, and then the beetles kind of keep them pinned there. And there's been some research that shows that there's certain bees that might even just be assigned to keep those hive beetles corralled into a certain corner of your hive. But I've got a secret weapon that I want to show you that's one of my favorite tools for dealing with this. So hang on just a minute, I'm going to show you that secret weapon. Probably the most common way that people deal with small hive beetles is this small hive beetle trap. And all you do is put 1/4 of an inch of like cheap vegetable oil in the bottom. When you put it in, make sure you wipe the vegetable oil off of the top of the small hive beetle trap, because it is toxic to the bees. Slide this between two frames, especially in the area where you see our small hive beetle gathering, which is usually at the top of your hive on the outer frames. And put a couple of these in, and the bees will run the small hive beetles into the trap. The small hive beetles will not be able to get out because of the oil, and they'll drown in there. So if you have a bad problem with small hive beetles, then you can definitely use a small hive beetle trap, or you can use dryer sheets. Some people use dryer sheets as well. But that's not my secret weapon. I'm gonna tell you my secret weapon. Another way that people deal with small hive beetles is to get a little gun that like sucks them up. And you can do that, and that actually works pretty good, again, if you have a big problem. But here's the situation that I'm in. I have not had a big problem with small hive beetles. They're in my hive, but I've never gotten to the place that they're infested. Like, I'll show you this picture right here. This picture right here is like when the small hive beetles have come in and they've infested the hive, and they're starting to lay their larvae in the wax, in the honey, and they're really getting in, and they're starting to overtake the hive. And when it gets to that point, it can get really nasty. It can smell, it can run the bees out of the hive. I haven't really gotten to that place in my years of beekeeping, and one of the reasons is there's two things that I love to do with small hive beetles to keep them under control. And if you can do these two things regularly, you might be able to stay ahead of them. But even with that, I've had some of my local beekeepers here, say they've done that, and the small hive beetles have still gotten ahead of their hive. But one of the things that I love to do is just take my hive tool and just crush the small hive beetle. And this is great when you're on your inner cover or your telescoping lid and you see the small hive beetle run around, and you just can crush them. It's the most pleasant crush that you can have, just to stay ahead of the population. When I'm in my hive, like, I will try to crush every small hive beetle that I can. And I start with my hive tool, but that's still not my secret weapon. Here's my secret weapon. Ta-da! It's simple. It's just a punch. I think it's an 1/8 inch punch. And what I do, I'm going to show you, I'm going to zoom in here and show you, but I'll just describe it right now. This is the same size as the cells that a bee will have. And so I just got a little piece of comb here, and this fits right in there. So if you're using plastic foundation, you can take this punch, because the small hive beetles, if you've noticed, they run in and out of this comb, and you don't want to destroy all that comb and chasing down that small hive beetle and crushing it with your big bulky hive tool. And so this little punch is my secret weapon against the small hive beetle, and so far it's worked really well. And so when the small hive beetle goes into one of the cells, I just take the punch and follow it in there and crush it. And it works great, and I don't have to destroy any comb. Now, of course, this will not work if you're not using plastic foundation, because your punch needs to press against the plastic to actually crush the small hive beetle. But for all those beetles that are on your comb, if you spend a few minutes just crushing them when you're in there, it will really help out quite a bit. And so I'll show you what that looks like, and I'll show you how that works. So This is my secret weapon. Again, what I'm talking about here is just low infestation levels. So you say, what is a low infestation level? Well, for me, I would say if I open my hive and I see 20 or less hive beetles that I can comfortably crush in 2 or 3 minutes time, that's a low infestation level. When I leave, there might only be 2 or 3 that are left inside of my hive. If it's more than that, then you're probably gonna need to go to traps, or you're gonna have to go to dryer sheets or different techniques, which maybe I'll go over in another video. But for low infestation, just daily maintenance this time of year when you're seeing this small hive beetle, you know, I just use the hive tool and I use my secret weapon, the 1/8 inch punch. So thanks for visiting with me today. If you have any questions about small hive beetles, please leave them in the comments. And I hope that you will like and subscribe to my channel as we're trying to grow a community here of beekeepers, especially in my region of the country, the southern half of the United States, dealing with issues that are a little bit more prominent in the southern United States than from what I hear in the northern United States. And I used to raise bees with my dad in Vermont, and so I have a little bit of context of the different things that beekeepers in the north versus the beekeepers in the south. So hope you like and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day. God bless.